Okay, so Bitcoin or Ethereum in the long term? That's the big question. A lot of people have this one, and we're going to tackle it here in this video. I'm going to talk about some positives and negatives for maybe both arguments on both sides here. And we're going to start with the Ethereum liquidity crisis, which could see a new all-time high, at least for Ethereum before Bitcoin here in this cycle. So if it's your first time dropping into the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, my name's Zach. Of course you know me, and we're always talking about all things crypto on this channel. So let's hop into this real quick, but before we do so, just want to plug our private community. If you want direct access to me, one-on-one portfolio help, the insider package is what you are looking for. You're also going to get buy and sell trade alerts, hot weekly crypto alerts, portfolio guidance, as I mentioned, and oh yeah, we also create a group portfolio that you have access to, as well as all the access to the Discord and over hundreds of Discord members. And come on over and join us. And then for just $10 per month, you can cancel at any time, by the way. For $10, you can get direct access to the Discord as well as general support from me. So come on over, join the Constant Growth team, and become a private member. All right, so let's bounce back over to that article. I want to start there. Ethereum liquidity crisis could see new ETH all-time high before Bitcoin. This is coming from an analyst. It's a dog-eat-dog for the return to all-time highs between Bitcoin and Ethereum, the latest data suggests. So with Bitcoin up over 50% versus its lows of 29,000, altcoins have also begun to weaken, with Ether having no exception. The largest altcoin has captured 3,000. A level this week is now in the process of being retested as support. Currently, at the time of this recording, we're up over $3,200 per ETH. Despite attention focusing on Bitcoin reclaiming 50K, optimism over ETH remains high after its successful London hard fork deployment earlier this month. Of course, if you're just new to that, the EIP 1559 now creates a slow burn mechanism in Ethereum's overall supply. So this says, thanks in part to the supply changes pushed through via the hard fork, a liquidity shortfall could ultimately serve to push ETH to a new historic peak before BTC manages to do the same. So this is coming from the analyst here, and he quotes, current ETH price is closer to all-time high compared to BTC. Higher demand, lower supply. ETH sell-side liquidity crisis still intensifies while BTC exchange reserve stopped its downward trend in May. In terms of numbers, Bitcoin exchange reserves have been declining since May, only to return to late July. From the peak of 2.54 million on the 26th of July, BTC reserves then declined to 2.44 million this week. So that's interesting. By contrast, ETH has been a mostly linear downtrend since late May's local high of 21.43 million. As of this week, the exchange balance is around 19.25 million. Okay, so the crypto analyst here is not alone in forecasting more rampant bull charge for Ether compared to Bitcoin. And this says here, illiquid supply shock ratio has been a good leading indicator over the past few months. Analyst William Clement III commented on the latest figures from fellow on-chain analytics resource Glassnode. So essentially, this is making the argument that ETH will get there to the new all-time high before Bitcoin. But what about the really long term? Which asset do I believe over the next 5-10 years will yield more return? Well, we could start doing some easy math, right? If we put Bitcoin at 50K, where do you think it gets to in 10 years? I think a lot of people would say 10x, 500,000. Okay. If we put Ethereum at 3,000, and where do you put it in the next 10 years? Is it more than 30K? Is it 20x? Right? Could it get to 60K? Probably. Right? So I think we're seeing a situation where, yes, Bitcoin is going to perform well. And it's probably the slightly less risky play, right? Because it doesn't really have much competition. I mean, who's competing against Bitcoin in terms of what they do as a store value? I think the only competition they have is gold. Hold on one second. I got to take a sip of this. That's really their own competition, right? Is gold. And with Ethereum, you've got some competition. You've got Terra Luna. You've got, well, of course, you've got Cardano. You've got Solana and Luna, right? There's a lot of other assets out there that kind of do what Cardano does. Do I think those other ones will catch do what Ethereum does, rather. Do I think they'll catch Ethereum? No. But Bitcoin maybe has a little easier path in terms of staying on top in that space, right? So if we go over and look at Ethereum right now, we can see the trends here, and we are moving up nicely here, up to 3,200. Bitcoin up over 47K now. That is great to see. And if we go over to number of holders on each of these, we'll go over to ETH holders or wallets here. And I'll show you this over in the flippening index, actually. And Bitcoin holders at 38,000. Ethereum, I believe, has more than that. Not quite sure why they're not giving us holdings number. But we can actually go over to the flippening index to find out. So this is something that we look at all the time. The blockchaincenter.net flippening. So here's where we are. Let's get an update on this. The flippening market cap, 42.4% Ethereum is there. They're not even 50% there yet, but of course that's the big metric, right? Now all of these smaller metrics go into it. Active addresses flippening. Ethereum is 61% there. They've been as high up here as 80%, as you could see back in May. Transaction count flippening. Ethereum has already flipped Bitcoin in this metric. Transactions volume flippening. Same thing. ETH has already flipped Bitcoin in this metric. Trading volume flippening. They were there at one point back in May. Right now it's at 82%, but they will get that back very soon. Total transaction fees. Ethereum blows Bitcoin out of the water. Now where Bitcoin has the big advantage is the node count flippening. However, we could see Ethereum was well up over 100% in this before, and in the Google search metric. Now Ethereum has been as high as 61% on this metric, and this is the one where they're really lagging behind, but they're really close. And the term flippening refers to the hypothetical moment of Ethereum overtaking Bitcoin as the biggest cryptocurrency. So I want you to drop down below in the comment section if and when you think Ethereum will overtake Bitcoin as the biggest cryptocurrency. At 100%, they both have the same market cap. Even though market cap is the main metric to determine the flippening, there are a number of other metrics that we just went over that can be observed below, and this is the overall metric. And again, this is blockchaincenter.net. All right, so let's take a look at the overall market, and a good way to do that is to take a look at the fear and greed index. We have actually decreased down a couple points here over the last few days, up to or down to 70, depending on how you look at that, which is good because we were a little too high there. That's why we had that market correction, and we're flattening out here right around that 70 mark on the fear and greed index. And if you haven't seen this, basically what it means is when it's extreme fear, this could be a sign that investors are too worried. It's a good buying opportunity. So when we're way down here. Now when we're too greedy, could be a good telltale sign that we're going to have some type of correction, some kind of drawback in the prices of various assets. All right, so come on over and join us at the Patreon. And again, let me know your thoughts down below with Ethereum. I think Bitcoin in the next 10 years will probably be $500,000. But in that same time frame, I think Ethereum will, instead of 10x, closer to 20x to 60 to 70K. And that's why I'm riding with Ethereum. I'm a little bit more heavily weighted, a lot more heavily weighted on Ethereum than Bitcoin. Okay, so hopefully you got some value out of this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon.